Zowie just came out with yet another brand new mouse shape. This is the Zowie U2. And thanks to Zowie, I've been testing it for the last month. I've even been using it secretly during some of my Twitch streams. And it's a shape I think a lot of people are gonna like, and I'll be getting into that, but first, here's a quick rundown of the rest of the mouse. First of all, I'm happy to report that Zowie listened to feedback, and this mouse is using the newest Pixart 3395 sensor, which I've had no issues with during my personal testing. Another thing I'm sure everyone's curious about is the weight. My copy weighed in at 60 grams, making it the lightest Zowie mouse ever, but it still manages to have that really solid Zowie feel. In terms of build quality, when squeezing the mouse side to side, my copy had no creaking or flexing. However, when squeezing from top to bottom, the base plate did have a little amount of bend to it. I don't see this as an issue whatsoever, but I know some people are going to wonder. Within normal use, the build quality felt fantastic. Now, going back to the shape, this isn't exactly the biggest mouse, and it does get very narrow in the middle while still maintaining that wide back. And the sides of the mouse also taper down from top to bottom, which creates a small ledge that rests above your fingers, making it really easy to pick up. I found myself naturally gravitating towards this type of straight finger grip with this particular shape, as I felt it gave me the most stability when tracking. But the shape is honestly quite versatile for many grip types. Many people are going to compare it to an S2, and there are some similarities, but I'd say the in-hand feeling differs a lot. And this is because the sides of the U2 cave in way more, whereas the sides of the S2 are more flat in comparison. I don't have an S2 on hand right now to compare it with, but I do have an S1, which is the bigger version, and I do have the Fantech Helios 2 Pro, which is essentially a clone of the S2, so you can compare. Taking a look at the bottom of the mouse, you can see they went with an interesting skate design to accommodate the charging prongs. While it looks funny, the corners are actually rounded well, so it's not something you can really feel when using the mouse. The glide of these are very slow and controlled, which makes them suited for attack FPS games like Counter-Strike or Valorant, and they do include a second pair in the box as well, which is always nice. I do wish they would have included a pair of faster 100% PTFE skates for those of us that like faster glides for tracking heavy games like myself. It is kind of a bummer having to wait for aftermarket skates to come out, but at the end of the day, this is of course preference-based. The battery life is quite good. You can go about a week of gaming before needing to charge it, and charging it is incredibly convenient as well. I found myself usually just topping it off throughout the day whenever I wasn't using it, and I never really had to think about the battery life. It uses the same enhanced receiver that doubles as a charging station as their last wireless mouse, the EC-CW, and you can check my review of that mouse here where I go into more detail. Of course, for whatever reason, if you need to charge your mouse while using it, it also does come with a regular old-fashioned paracord style charging cable, so it's going to be nice and flexible. Now, something that has changed from all their previous mice is that they've added 2 more DPI steps. Historically, Zowie mice have always had 4 DPI steps, being 400, 800, 1600, and 3200, but with this mouse, Zowie has added options for 1000 DPI and 1200 DPI. And you can change that using the button on the bottom of the mouse, because this mouse is driverless. And you can also change other stuff like the pulling rate and liftoff distance by using a combination of various buttons, which are all covered in the user manual, which also tells you how to enable and disable motion sync. As far as the clicks, they're still using the same Huana blue dot switches that Zowie uses in all their mice. However, it does feel ever so slightly lighter, most likely due to a thinner shell design. But if I'm being honest, the difference is hardly noticeable. I do have to say there's almost no side play at all, and there's not a lot of pre-travel or take-up as some people would call it. The buttons feel very responsive and crispy, and the same can be said about the side buttons as well. There's hardly no mush to them. Now, all this brings me to say, I don't think I'm personally going to be maining this mouse. While I did enjoy it a lot, it is a bit too small for my liking. I would absolutely love to see what a larger version of this mouse feels like. But I still think Zowie made an awesome mouse here, and if you want to check out a review of another Zowie mouse I really like, then check out my review of the S1C here.